Paul, difficult day for your team. What are your reflections?
No, I think the other week when you said about a tough afternoon, and I perhaps disagreed with you slightly, I think today's that time. Definitely to say that. We were second best for obviously almost all the game realistically, and Barnsley, were good at what they do, and we struggle on the basics of football, as in second balls. We had an idea of trying to turn them around. I think we did that once early on with George Lloyd, and other times we turned that down. And to be fair, I thought we defended quite a lot of the set play as well. We know they're a massive threat from it. I don't know, unless I've totally missed something, I don't think it's a corner at all that they end up scoring from. But look, that's kind of a decision that's gone against us in one sense, but irrelevant in others in terms of the whole 95-6 minutes, whatever it was. And again, to concede straight after half time from exactly what we were trying to do, as in turn it down the sides. It's a good ball, the lad gets there, shouldn't, cuts inside and scores too easily. And then, it's an uphill struggle. And, we tried to simplify it today in terms of making people's jobs easy. And I think as a result, we didn't really pass the ball once or twice first half, and a couple of bits second half. But once it was 2-0 and we changed shape, it was, very little in that. So we've got to do a hell of a lot better is the bottom line, irrespective of the fact that I do think we've come up against a very strong team that are hard to play against.
Yeah, you found it difficult to test their goalkeeper today. One great save from Tom Bloxham at the end of the first half, but not too much to concern him otherwise? No,
I'm not sure. Toby's he's had two, I think, good saves. Other than that, not loads. But like I said, in general, there are no excuses and no hiding away from the fact we were beaten by a much better team today.
Your changes, you had to make an enforced change in the first half. First of all, any news on Aaron Pierre, how he is?
I think he tweaked his hamstring from what he said at half time. I think he stretched for a ball, and then we said when he was running he was aware of it. So ultimately we lost him. We thought, having him in Toto today in terms of the physical, the size of him, the threats, where they rank in terms of set play goals, whether that's corners, free kicks, the long throws, that we would need them. And like I said, in general, I thought we defended a lot of them well. But you only need sort of one, or they only needed that one real half chance, and Russell put it in the net again, second phase, which we highlight. But ultimately, it's one thing highlighting it and not. And dealing with it. So, hopefully Aaron's not too bad, but that was the initial sort of conversation I had with him.
You then made a double change on the hour, John Marquis and Leo Castledine coming on, but no other changes today, Paul. Yeah. What was the thinking there when you've got creative players such as Tommy O'Reilly and Charles Sago Jr. among the options, and they didn't get on for a minute today? No,
they didn't. And given my time again, I don't think I put them on. I didn't think it was anything like a diff to put them on. Neither of them are going to help us on set plays. It just didn't feel like it was that type of game for them, if I'm being totally honest, Stuart. We didn't pass the ball enough. They need to get the ball into them. That was the reason why.
Is it difficult when you've got these young players who have come in from big football clubs in the Premier League, and they're perhaps not getting as many minutes as they would like? We've seen a bit more of Charles Sago Jr. than we have of Tommy O'Reilly of late. Is it a case of just them having to be patient and their chance will come at some stage?
I think patience is one thing. I think there's a realisation of what football's about, if I'm being totally honest. And there's also a bit, if either of these players are the best player on the training pitch every day, I'd find it harder to leave people out. And that's not just those two, that's just in general. As I've said before, there's nothing personally. I'm trying to pick a team that I think gives us the best chance of getting a result. Now, we're obviously at the wrong end of the table and where we want to be. I think today, because of how the game went, it was a difficult place potentially for younger players to be and play the football. It's not easy. and there's a little bit of you trying to do what's right for the team first and foremost, for maybe players. As I said, ultimately, you know, I have to see things throughout the week as well that some people don't witness. And I think often I've had this at various points in sort of my managerial career where suddenly the players that aren't on the pitch get a hell of a lot better than the ones that are on it. And that's not a good sign, because that means it's not going as well as you would like on the pitch.
No Carl Winchester in the matchday squad today. What's the situation with Carl?
Yeah, Carl was the one that I mentioned was ill. He managed to be here today. I think I had a little bobble on the pitch, but he'd been sort of ill for 3 days, sickness, not eating, and again, look, Carl would have put himself out there. There's no getting away from that. But my experience, and I think in a certain way, I think I can relate in terms of character-wise. I did it myself, where you declare yourself fit, you go out there and you're nowhere near the player that you want to be. You haven't got the energy. The head's saying you want to do it, the heart is, but the body doesn't respond. And I think today that, you know, that's kind of was the call that I made.
I think everybody who follows the football club anticipated this was going to be a challenging season, but here you are 14 games in with 8 points on the board, 10 defeats out of 14. Is it even tougher in terms of results than you perhaps would ever have anticipated, that sort of return? Yeah,
and I think not today. Certainly not today, as in, but in terms of what I'm going to say, but we could have quite easily had some more points, and we've talked about various reasons why we haven't got a few more, whether that's our own deficiencies, whether that's things that are out of our control, but overall we would have wanted to have had more points. I look at some other teams, whether it's in our division, whether it's division above, that are placed much better than ourselves but are having real struggles, and that's unfortunately, you know, can be life in football, because sometimes things don't go as you want, sometimes things don't make sense, and sometimes things are just really tough, and there's no doubt about it. That's where we're at, you know, the latter of those three. But as I've said on many occasions and reiterated the other day, it's about fighting. And that's where today I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of that. Yes, they're a good team. Yes, they got themselves in front. But even at 2-0, as daft as it is and as much as we were second best, if you nick a goal, that can make for a nervy end, but didn't feel we showed enough belief and enough kind of understanding of the situation realistically to get a little bit closer when we were putting balls forward. And again, it don't have to be pretty at that stage, so we hit some diagonal balls. The size of their defenders were always going to win more than their fair share, but can we get on that second and get a bit of pressure? And I think that's where we, you know, well, certainly one of the areas where we fell short.
Thanks for your time, Paul.
Thanks, Stuart.